Hi, it's Summer, and this video is only going to end when I get a 5-star. I just barely finished filming my March and April wrap up, and I basically didn't have anything above a 3.5. I did have a couple of poetry collections that got 4 and 5 stars, but as far as like actual like novels, I couldn't break out of like the 3.5 bubble, and it's killing me. It's been 2 months now of just like not really having anything that great that I've read, and I'm so sick of it. Like, I'm gonna go crazy. So I figured if I'm gonna be in a reading slump, I might as well make some content out of it. So right now I'm currently reading 2 books. One of them is an ebook that I've been reading for like a while now. When I'm reading physically, I usually don't read very fast. So right now this is just kind of like my nightly ebook that I read. It's Crushing It by Theo Lawrence. It's adult friends to lovers, which is my favorite trope. I love adult friends to lovers. It has a road trip, it has fake dating, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think if I had to rate it right now, it would be 4 stars, which, you know what? I'll take it. Like, I just need to not have another 3 or 3.5 star rating. I think right now I'm only like 30-ish% of the way through, and I'm not really putting a lot of pressure on myself to finish that in a timely manner. I'm just kind of like reading it when I want to. The other book that I'm reading I started today, and it's May Luna by Kelly McNeil. I'm reading this one for my in-person book club that is taking place in about 2 weeks. I'm listening to it on audio, and it's definitely giving Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Right now we're in a current day perspective of the people that were attached to this band called May Luna, and they're going to be kind of reflecting on that time in their life of before and during stardom. And I think it's set during the like early to mid 90s is when they were really like coming into fame and stuff. So far I'm really enjoying the writing. I feel like it's very like easy to understand, but it's also like beautiful and descriptive. This one is a fairly new release. It came out in 2024. And I haven't heard a single thing about this book except for when a few of my friends at book club wanted to read it. They all want to read a book that's going to make us cry. And normally I avoid books like that. Like, I don't really like to go out of my way to read sad books. If a book ends up like making me cry or feel sad, like I'm okay with it, but I don't actually like go and seek out sad books. So I'm prepared to either have my heart ripped out of my chest and never be the same after this book, or also just feel bleh about it. It could go either way. I don't know. So I'll just see you when I finish one of these books. I've been sick for like a week, and so I wasn't feeling really up to updating the video, but a few days ago I finished May Luna and I hated it. I'm giving it 1 star, and it's only getting a star because the writing style was enjoyable. Like, I could tell that they're a talented author, like they know how to write really well. I just hated the story that they decided to write. I think if you want like a historical fiction, like band story, you're better off just reading Daisy Jones and the Six. I hated the main character, and of course I ran out of space on my SD card right in the middle of talking. Anyway though, the main character was really just dumb, and she literally ruined people's lives all because of something that wasn't even a problem, but she made it a problem, and because of her decision she literally ruined multiple people's lives, including her own. And like, we're kind of supposed to feel bad for her, but I didn't, because I'm like, bitch, you made your bed, you get to sleep in it now. Like, I just really didn't like it. The ending was also really bad, but luckily I saw it coming and I was able to mentally prepare myself for it. Otherwise, I think that I literally would have crashed out. Like, so stupid. I understand that like there are people that love to just like read about characters going through painful situations. I almost kind of feel like maybe I should have liked this book because I loved Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, which is just one where the characters just go through it and there's not really a point to their pain. It's just that you're learning about them going through it. So I know that I'm capable of enjoying that kind of a story. I think for me in this one though, it was just the main character being an idiot, and I didn't like her, so I didn't really like care about her or feel bad for her when she was going through these things. I think that I already said in the earlier clip, but I'm reading this one, or I read this one for my in-person book club that's happening next weekend. I definitely am not alone in my feelings about this book, and I think it's gonna be a fun discussion, especially if it's just us hating on it together. But I guess it's kind of good that I didn't like it very much, because this would have been a really boring video if I read one book and it was 5 stars. Right now I just needed like
something like a comfort read basically to listen to until I figure out what I want to read next. So I started listening to the graphic audio of, I don't even remember what it's called, Kingdom of Ash, I think. It's like the second From Blood and Ash book by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I don't even know if I'm gonna like finish it. It was just to have something on in the background while I was driving to work today. So I don't really even think I'm gonna really count it in this video. Also because even if I did like rate it 5 stars, which I'm pretty sure the first time I read it, I only gave it maybe like 3 to 4 stars. So that's probably gonna be my experience again with it. But even if it was 5 stars, I feel like I wouldn't count it in this video because I want to find like a new 5-star book. So like that's what I'm unofficially listening to. I just can't really tell what mood I'm in. And also I'm just afraid that even if I pick up a book that could potentially be 5 stars, like what if I'm just in a bad mood and it's not 5 stars just because I'm in like a bad mindset or something? Like I just feel like I'm kind of scared to pick up anything.
It's been a few days and I have finished Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, and I think I'm just gonna stick with my original rating of 4 stars. I did pick up a different book last night. I started the audiobook for Beg, Borrow, or Steal by Sarah Adams. It's my in-person book club pick for next month. I actually won't be able to go because we have family coming into town, but I still wanted to like read the book anyway, especially because I think we read the other 2 books in this series like for book club, so I just feel like I need to, you know, I need to read it for book club. I really wasn't expecting a whole lot from this one. I've liked the other 2 books in the series, but I'm really liking this one. I'm at 60% right now, so I probably will finish it today. Like there's potential for it to be 5 stars, but also like I feel like I'm really picky about 5 stars with romance. Each of the books in this series is based off of an Audrey Hepburn film. The first book is based off of Roman Holiday, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. The second one is based off of Funny Face. And then this one is based off of How to Steal a Million, I'm pretty sure, which is a really fun one. It's about these 2 academic rivals who are definitely like kind of enemies, but some circumstances kind of bring them together. He moves away and then moves back into town, and they're both working at the same school. They're both teachers. He is secretly a best-selling author. He uses a pseudonym and nobody knows that it's him because his dad is a huge best-selling author and he wanted to make his way into the publishing industry on his own, not using his dad's name. Also just because of some other deeper, darker family stuff, he just doesn't want his dad to be any part of his author career. The female main character, I think her name's Emily. She has a lot of childhood trauma and she kind of acts as the older sibling to her siblings. I don't think she's actually the older sibling, but she's definitely the one who has it all together, or has it all together. And she has been secretly writing a romance novel in her free time. The hero has moved out of this town for a few years and now he's moving back. And he doesn't know it, but the only house that's like available to buy for him to live in happens to be next door to her, and it needs a bunch of renovations. So they're getting on each other's nerves, but they're also like growing closer. And I'm really having a lot of fun with it. I have a job interview today at Free People and I'm like super nervous about it. And I feel like this has been a really good distraction for me. Sarah Adams is kind of known for like clean romance, and I can't really remember if When in Rome and Practice Makes Perfect, I think they might have had more of like fade to black scenes. I think this one actually has like spicy scenes in it, which I'm always a fan of, so I think it's kind of fun that she's maybe switching it up for this book a little bit. If you're a fan of Sarah Adams because she does clean romance, she does put like a content warning in the beginning of the book telling you which chapters to skip if you don't want to read those scenes. I feel like my only thing is the hero, I can't remember his name, but he rides a motorcycle, and I think it's one of those where it's like the really big ones with like the huge handlebars that you have to like lean into, and I just think those are dumb. Like, I'm really sorry, but I feel like men that ride those types of motorcycles are trying to compensate for something. At least that's the vibe that it gives off. It's like one of my icks, and so hearing that he drives one of those, I'm just like, ugh. It's not doing it for me. I think that I might just be visualizing this guy the wrong way, maybe, but to me he's coming off as kind of like a hipster kind of millennial guy, which is not my vibe. He has like a sticker sleeve with goofy, kind of ridiculous tattoos, which can be fun, but his are very like cartoony and like childish, which like if that's your thing with tattoos, like to each their own, but in like a love interest, I don't really know if that's what I'm into. He also is like very kind of bright. Like he dresses in really bright, bold colors and is like a little bit like wacky and playful. So I'm like, okay, he's this like bright, sunshiny, like clown of a person kind of in my brain. But then he also like drives a motorcycle. I just don't know what the vibe is supposed to be for this guy. Something kind of sweet though is that he wears these like friendship necklaces with like the bright beads and stuff, because like the kids in his classes, because they're elementary school teachers, I'm pretty sure. The kids in his classes, every year he gets like a couple of like these friendship necklaces from his students and he wears them. And like that's kind of cute, but also like it's not helping the clown image in my mind. I'm probably just like visualizing it the wrong way. I do appreciate though that he's not just another dark, brooding, grumpy hero. It feels nice to not be reading like the same personality over again. I think these are things that I could maybe get over. I don't think it's gonna be 5 stars. It's feeling more like a 4 or a 4.5, but I will definitely come back and update you when I've finished it. It's the next day and I just got back from the pool, so I look a little crazy, but I finished Beg, Borrow, or Steal on my way to the pool. Pretty much everything that I said about it yesterday is how I still felt. I really liked it, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars. And even though it's not a 5, can I just tell you how good it feels to read something that I really enjoyed after just having like 3 and 3.5 star books? This is a win for sure. I'm very happy about it. The next book that I'm going to pick up is an audiobook, and it's My Big Fat Fake Marriage by Charlotte Stein. This is my first book from this author. I think that it has plus size representation in it. It has fake dating and forced proximity. It's about this guy who's an editor, and I guess that he's been single his whole life and he's kind of insecure about it. And in a moment of panic, he tells his publishing house or wherever he works that he's engaged or something like that, or that he has a girlfriend. And so this girl is an aspiring author, and I guess kind of takes this opportunity to fake date him to kind of like get into the publishing world a little bit. And she ends up going on a writing retreat with him. I love forced proximity. I have a love-hate relationship with fake dating, so we will see how it's done in this one.
I'm about to head to work, but I had to do an update because this book is not for me. The hero is kind of reminding me of the main character from The House in the Cerulean Sea. Too over the top, so anxious. And I actually really like anxiety rep in books, but this just feels kind of like a caricature of anxiety. He is just so insecure and he lets everybody walk all over him. But my type, in books at least, is more like confident, or at least like if they are anxious, it's not reading like it's supposed to be funny. Like, it's just not working for me. I'm just really not like attracted to the male main character, and I feel like in a romance you kind of need to be a little bit, even if they are written for the female main character or whoever their love interest is supposed to be. Like, I need to be able to enjoy them too. And he seems really sweet, but he just doesn't seem very like real to me. Also, the audiobook narrator is just not doing him justice with like the voice that she's doing for him. It sounds like the kind of voice that you would do for like a kind of like silly, annoying side character, and it's the love interest. Like, I really do feel like if this was like dual narration with a really good male narrator, I probably would be like having different feelings. I probably would be able to like push through. But right now, it's a DNF for me. I think I'm a little past 20%, and I'm just not going to continue. I also don't really know what I'm going to read next, so I think my next update will be whatever new book I pick up. I started and finished a book without updating this video. I read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, and I'm giving it 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed the first like half of the book, and then the second half was just kind of like okay for me. This one, or at least this series, is following 3 brothers whose grandfather was basically like Walt Disney. He was this creator of this theme park called Dreamland. After the grandfather passes away, each of these 3 brothers is going to be inheriting a percentage of the company, but their grandpa has left letters for each of them with a task that they have to complete in order to receive their inheritance. The brother that the first book follows is Roman, I think, and his job is that he has to come up with a new idea or like a new ride or like a new section of the park and present it to a panel of people that the grandpa has chosen. So since there's a lot of pressure on this idea being like perfect, he's having like the best people on the team work with him on the project and come up with it. The female main character that we're following, her name is on the tip of my tongue and I cannot remember it, but she's just an employee at the park. She works at basically the equivalent of the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, where she like gives princess makeovers to the little kids that come in. And I guess that every year they allow any of the employees to submit ideas for the park, and her idea gets chosen. And so she becomes what they call a creator, and she gets to be working on like the creative team, and she ends up working really closely with Roman. She's definitely sunshine. He is so grumpy, and they have this like really funny like banter, because even though he's being like so rude to her, she just like doesn't care, and she just like kind of makes fun of him and like throws it back at him. So I loved like the Disneyland vibes of the book, and I also did like their banter, but I didn't really like that it took this romance to make Roman realize that he was just a shitty person. It was like he was discovering what basic human decency was for the first time in his like 30s. And even though he's like rich and just like on a different level than most people, I still would think that he would know between right and wrong. So I don't know, I just thought that was like kind of dumb, but it was just still like a fun, easy read. And I liked it enough that I am currently listening to the second book on audio. The brother that this one is following is Devin, I think, and his task to complete from his grandpa is to get married and have a baby with someone before he can inherit his percentage, which I'm sure the grandpa like gave him this challenge because like Devin was probably the most like maybe damaged as far as like childhood trauma and wouldn't give romance a chance or something. So this was like the grandpa's last ditch effort at like getting him to like have like a family maybe. I don't really know. These brothers definitely came from like kind of a shitty childhood as far as their dad being an alcoholic and I think being abusive, and they also lost their mother at a young age, so they do have some like darker things that they're working through. We are following him and his assistant named Iris. I really like Iris. She's very sassy and very like strong, independent, and she knows just how to deal with him because he's such an asshole. This one is a marriage of convenience trope, which is a trope that I really enjoy, and it also has some like forced proximity aspects to it as well, which I also really like. I think I'm about like 30 to 40-ish% of the way through the book, and I think we're about to get into like some good stuff. There's already lots of like sexual tension, and so I feel like we're finally gonna get like some payoff moments maybe. It's not gonna be 5 stars, I already know that, and I probably need to stop picking up things that I know are just gonna be like light, fluffy, fun, easy reads, because they're just gonna be like 3.5 star books. But I also just keep feeling like I'm only in like a mental space right now for light, fun, easy reads that doesn't take a whole lot of like brain power. I feel like I'm just kind of like setting myself up for failure with this video. I just keep picking up things that I know are just gonna be like okay books. I'll come back and update you though when I have finished this one. It's a few days later, and it is literally taking everything in me to not just abandon this video. But just like I said in the last clip, it's because I'm choosing things that I know are not going to be 5 stars. So I'm doing it to myself. But I finished the second book in the Dreamland Billionaires series. I think I gave it like 2 stars, 2.5 maybe. It was entertaining enough for me to finish, but it was just okay. It honestly wasn't very memorable. I'm trying to even like remember what the plot was. I know that I wrote down like details of it in my Goodreads review, but I just like don't even remember like anything about the book. So I'll just pop up my review on the screen really quick. It's probably pretty short. So anyway, after that though, I was like, do I want to keep reading like billionaire romance books? Because I do like that trope. So the next book that I picked up was, I think it's called Tempt Me. Terrible name, terrible cover. Honestly, not that great of a book either. I just barely finished it yesterday. The main character in this one is Abby, I think is her name, and she comes from a very like religious small town, and she was very sheltered growing up, and she wants to kind of like get out of her hometown because her fiance just cheated on her, and she just like wants to do something different. So she's taking this job in Alaska to work on like a hotel resort property, and the hotel chain is owned by the Wolf family, who are obviously very rich. So the love interest in this one, I think his name is Henry Wolf. He's the one who's opening up this resort, and she ends up becoming his like personal assistant or something. Like it was like fun and steamy, but also though like some of the things that he was kind of saying kind of about consent, it was a little bit like concerning to me. Like she gets drunk for the first time and she's kind of like walking around at night like close to the lake and stuff, and she could have easily like gotten hurt or drowned or something. He kind of follows her and like helps her and makes sure that she gets back to her room safely. Later in the book, he's talking to her and kind of referencing that experience. And the way that he kind of like said it, it would have been like if any other man would have like found her and she would have been like coming on to them while she was drunk, like they would have taken advantage of her. And he almost kind of made it sound like it was like her fault a little bit. Like it was just weird. I didn't like it. And then also the book, it didn't have a complete arc. Where it ended almost felt like either the halfway mark or 3/4 as far as like where the plot was, and it just like abruptly ended, and then you're supposed to pick up the next book, and that just kind of bugged me. It kind of felt like fan fiction of the Crossfire series, which I read forever ago, but that's kind of what it felt like to me. So I think I gave it 2 stars. Like it was fine and entertaining enough to get through, but like not great. The setting in Alaska was kind of fun and like hearing about like the resort and stuff, but that was like really the only good part. I wouldn't recommend it. So next I decided to pick up something that actually has potential to be 5 stars. So right now I'm reading Silvery Elite, which I really just want to read because there's so much like mystery around it. I feel like half the people that you talk to think that it was written by AI. Everybody's trying to guess who actually wrote it because I guess it's written under a pen name. I've seen some people say that it just like really wasn't good, but I've seen a lot of people say that it was really good. And right now I'm actually really enjoying it. So far it kind of feels like a mix of Hunger Games and Divergent with a couple of like the plot aspects, but also just mainly like the vibe. I feel like I don't really even fully understand like what's happening, so I don't really know if it'll be easy to explain. It kind of sounds like that this is like the United States years in the future after a huge battle, and also after like a toxin outbreak happened, and the people who were affected by the toxin gained abilities, and then the people with abilities were fighting against the people that didn't have them. So I don't know if there were multiple wars, or if the toxin caused a war, or if the toxin was a result of a previous war. I don't know. But right now, the people with powers are like killed on sight, basically. There are different types of powers that people can have, but almost all of them, when they are using their power, their veins turn like silvery, like mainly on their arms is where it shows. And so that's like a tell, is if you see someone with like silvery veins, you report them and they get killed or sent to like a camp or something. The main character that we're following is one of the rare people with gifts that when she uses her power, her veins don't show, so she can hide in plain sight. And she has lived with her uncle. It's just someone who basically adopted her and has been protecting her whole life. And he's also been like training her and helping her like improve her gift. She is like a mind reader kind of person. So if she tries really hard, she can read someone's mind, even though she doesn't do that because it's an invasion of privacy. She just doesn't do it for moral reasons. But the people that have like the mind powers in this world, if you get close to them, you can like sense each other's like signatures and like connect and talk to each other through your mind. And then after that initial connection, it doesn't matter how far away you are from each other, you can still like basically call them and talk to them in your head. She ends up kind of getting caught up in some trouble, and she is now kind of being held captive / she has been enrolled in this like military training program. Basically, she's going to be trained to be on like the Silver Squad or something like that, which is like one of the higher ups in the military in this world. She's still hiding her identity, and she has lots of like things that she's learned to help her evade like the tests and things that they could do on her to see if she has gifts or abilities. The point that I'm at right now is very Divergent vibes, and it's really fun. Like, this definitely isn't the most original story that I've read, but also it's been a long time since something with this vibe has come out that I've read, at least, and I'm having just a fun time. It's very entertaining. The writing is okay. There are a couple of like phrases that the characters say, like when they curse, they say hell fuck, which I just think is like overkill. Like, that's just weird. Just say hell or just say fuck. Like, you don't need to combine the two of them to make it sound like unique or whatever. Another phrase that they use is keen, which I feel like I've heard in other books before. It's basically used to be like, do you understand what I'm saying? They say, are you keen, or whatever. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like it kind of takes me out of the story a little bit when they say it, because it feels a little bit like forced. But anyway, I'm about, I think 35% of the way through, maybe 40%. I don't think it's gonna be 5 stars unless something like really crazy happens. I feel like it's more of like a 4 or a 4.5, but I will come back and update you when I have finished it.
Listen, it's been over a month since the last clip. I literally have read more than 10 books and I only just barely got a 5-star. I almost abandoned this entire video because it was just taking me too long. So I decided that I just wouldn't update it again until I got a 5-star. So the last book that I talked about was Silver Elite, which feels like it was forever ago. I think I ended up giving it like 3 or 3.5 stars. It was entertaining. I honestly don't really remember a ton about it. Actually, no, I remember that it was really predictable, but it was still entertaining. So I thought I would just tell you really quick all of the other books that I read and what I rated them, but I won't like go into detail about each of them. So after Silver Elite, I read Savor It by Tara Dewitt and I gave it 3 stars. Then I read Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. I gave it 4 stars. Then I read a poetry collection called Love, Loss, and Everything in Between by Nicole Lower. I gave it 2 stars. Then I finished Crushing It, one of the ebooks that I talked about at the very beginning of the video by Thea Lawrence. I gave it 3 stars. Then I read The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig and I gave it 2.5 stars. Then I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage and gave it 3 stars. Then I read Things We Do in the Dark by Jennifer Hillier. I gave it 2.5 stars. Then I picked up Her Soul to Take by Harley LaRoe. I gave it 3.5 stars. Then I read Guild by Raven Kennedy and gave it 1 star. I hated it. I should have DNF'd it. Then I read The Paradise Problem by Christina Lauren and gave it 4 stars. Then I read Dream On, Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake and gave it 2 stars. And then I finally got a 5-star. I read An Ancient Witch's Guide to Modern Dating by Celia Edward. And this was just so cute. This isn't a perfect book, but it just had all the vibes that I wanted. The feeling that it gave me was a 5-star feeling, and I just had so much fun with this book. It's a witchy cozy fantasy about a witch from like the 1700s or something like that, maybe even like the 1600s. I don't remember. She accidentally makes a time traveling potion and time travels to like our current time, and all she cares about is finding love and finding a husband, and she doesn't know how to get back to her own time, so she's just kind of like chilling in like the modern day setting, and she has to get used to like cell phones and like modern day clothes and makeup, and she's also trying like online dating so that she can try and find a husband. Like, this is very low stakes, which I kind of feel like was what I needed. There's lots of found family and there's a really sweet message to the whole entire book. It's a little bit heavy-handed, but I didn't mind it. I thought it's just a good message. It was just really quirky and sweet, and you care about the characters. The main character in this book is named Thorn, and she has the ability to talk to cats. So there's lots of cats in this book, and there's lots of like them being sassy towards her. I just loved all of the cats in this book. There's also lots of tea and lots of potion making. If you like this genre, I totally recommend it. It's just so cute. It's such like a warm, cozy book. But literally, I think this was like 3 months in the making, okay? Like, it took me so long to finally find a 5-star. I'm just so glad that one finally happened. If you made it to the end, leave a frog emoji in the comments because there is a frog in this book. Also, let me know what your last 5-star read was. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Appalachian sunrise,